peeps, Mwahaha here, coming at you with the results of my first Clash Royale tournament, the first tournament that I've participated in, and I gotta tell you, nerve-wracking, but it was a lot of fun, and I got out there, did the best that I could, came in second out of 52 players, and I'm gonna go over the replays, kind of talk about what I think I did right, what I think I did wrong, and show you the overall standings. You can see here, if you look on the right-hand side of your screen, the tournament rules for somebody who has over 3,000 trophies were that I had to make a deck consisting of Arena 2 or lower cards. And so the deck that you see here, kind of threw it together before I went into it. Was not really sure what I was going to do with Arena 2 and only cards, but I think it came together with a pretty good deck. The idea here was to bring the giant skeleton in, tank as much as possible, and play that Goblin Barrel. As you guys have seen in the past, I love using that Goblin Barrel deck. It's great for deceptive plays, and that actually helped win my semifinal match and get me into the final, because I went up against an opponent that was pretty heavy on using those arrows. But let's go ahead and get into the replays real quick, and then I will show you the overall standings after the fact. All right, so my first match ended up being a kind of a bye because the guy didn't even show up. But my second match, I went up against Pie Dude. Pie Dude already had one win under his belt coming in the match against me. You can see I out level him by 2 levels, so he's got a big disadvantage. He's going to come in with his hog right off the bat. I'm going to start that slow push. That's something that I see pretty common in lower level players, especially if you're watching TV Royale. The lower level players are pushing right off the bat, like right up against that bridge. They don't really understand the importance of getting a slow push together and trying to conserve that elixir so that if you're starting to push, you can respond. And you can see that that's exactly what I did. I responded well enough to take care of that hog rider, while at the same time I had a good push going up the right side. And so here we are, less than a minute into it. His right tower has already fallen, or his left tower to my right, whatever you want to say. And he's got he doesn't have a whole lot going for him. We're almost even on damage at this point. Now, I didn't have any towers in my deck, any defensive cards to play. And so I was counting on that giant skeleton kind of slowing down and distracting that hog rider, which you can see he does well. So I put that giant skeleton right in front of the hog rider every time I can, because it's going to make him kind of go to the left, go to the right, and then finally go to the left. That little bit of delay time buys me enough time to put some damage on the hog rider, get some other troops down. You can see it kind of threw him off bat because he put down that freeze late, and that cost him because he wasn't able to use it at all. So now I'm putting some pretty good damage on that tower. Go ahead and arrow at this point to get rid of those archers, even though I really don't need to. And I've got his second tower down big time. He's got mine down about half. And now I'm just waiting to see what his next move is going to be. I'm getting ready to do another slow push. However, he's going to put in a big push, take all of his elixir out. And he's very committed at this point to that side. And so he puts a lot of damage in on that tower, but it's not enough to get it done, even though he got that freeze spell in. And that freeze really didn't help him at this point. So I was expecting him to arrow. It was actually a good read because he did have his arrows ready to go, and he could have arrowed my Goblin Barrel. However, he didn't, and so it ended up being kind of a waste. And so he's already got my tower down to 14. But I've got his second tower down to 707. At this point, I'm thinking he's probably going to arrow my tower he's going to fireball my tower. Bad decision. He could have arrowed it and saved himself an extra elixir. But at this point, the match is over. I've already got enough going on against his tower, and that's the first win of the tournament. Second match was up against Dr. Nemesis. You can see we are evenly matched, 9 against 9. And you can see he's rocking almost the same deck I am, but he does have that bomb tower. And so I'm going to go ahead and start that slow push with my skeleton, my giant skeleton. And he's going to try to Goblin Barrel me right off the bat. There again, really novice move. Goblin Barrel is not a good card to use if you don't have somebody to tank the damage. And so you can do it if you know your opponent is spent on elixir. and you're going to get an okay amount of damage. But if you spend it, if he does have anything to respond with, then it's going to be a total waste. And so you can see that's my intention of getting that giant skeleton in is to tank tank the damage from the tower while the goblins go to work. All right, so you can see his skeleton was getting through. I dropped my goblins just behind his skeleton. He's getting confetti. I'm not sure why. Maybe he's got some supporters in the crowd. I didn't get any confetti at this point. But I'm going to start that slow push again. I got the giant skeleton just climbing up. Oh, there's some confetti going my way. Again, he's sending in that goblin barrel unprotected. It just takes an arrow to wipe him out, and that's done. He's going to bring that bomb tower in, so I'm going to go heavy air against that, bring in my minions, and we're going to take that tower down. He's going to go ahead and arrow against that, which means, guess what? He doesn't have his arrow right now, and I've got my goblin barrel ready to go. So I'm going to put the goblin barrel directly on the tower, not even going to have to send it behind. Oh, I guess I'm not. I don't even have to worry about that because I take out that tower. And I could right now goblin barrel his tower because his remaining tower because he's already spent his arrows. But again, I like to have somebody to tank the tower damage when I'm bringing in my goblin barrel. So he's got his skeleton coming up the right. He's going to back up his skeleton with his musketeer. And we got a big battle going on in the bridge. So once again, there he goes, sending in his goblins unprotected. Goblin barrel unprotected, and I'm just going to take that opportunity to get them out of the way. And now he's got quite the little stack at the bridge, but my giant skeleton's back up, and so I'm going to put him right there to stop all of that. Here we go again with the goblin barrel. Again, bad. Not just did he not have him protected, but he actually put it in a bad location. If you put it in the corner like that, you're going to get all three of them grouped up in that one area, and then I just use my dragon because he's got splash damage to take out all of them quickly. So if you're going to hit the tower with your goblin barrel, now I got people throwing confetti at me. If you're going to hit people with the goblin barrel, there's two ways to do it if you know that they can respond. One is deceptively off to the corner, and two is right on the top of the tower, right in the middle, so that you can get spread on those goblins and they can't be AoE'd. Okay, on to match number 3. All right, match number 3 going up against Samuel. You can see we are, again, evenly matched. He's got a similar, well, he doesn't really have a similar deck, but he does have some cards that I've already faced a lot. You can see he's toying around with his cards right now. I don't know if he's just not really sure what he's going to put down or what, but I was pretty sure. You can see he wasted quite a bit of time there getting his first card out. Not sure how he was going to respond. He could have put out that musketeer a lot earlier. So at this point, I didn't know that he had arrows. I learned my lesson, fool me once kind of thing. But he does have the giant. I give him the thumbs up because that was a good play. He says, oops, like I screwed up. To be honest with you, that wasn't a screw up. That was just, I didn't know he had arrows. But I did know that I assumed that if he was going to have arrows, he wasn't also going to have fireballs. 2 direct damage cards playing this match would not be smart. So I wasn't too worried about grouping all of my folks together back behind that tower like I just did. However, he makes short work of that with that bomb tower, and now I know basically what he's got in his hand. I think I've seen everything he's got. He does have some good AoE cards. He's got the Valkyrie, he's got the bomber, and he's got the bomb tower. So I have to be mindful of that as I play. Now, deceptive play, exactly just to my point. I'm going to send that goblin barrel up high to the right. He arrows on the tower and does nothing. Total waste of 3 elixir right there. I now have an elixir lead. I've got a lead on tower damage, and I've got a decent push already coming up. So that's how you play the goblin barrel. You got to wait for those deceptive opportunities, and the more that you can utilize those, the better. Sometimes your opponent will catch on to it, and he'll wait to arrow until your goblin barrel's already landed. That's another reason why you want to have another troop on their way in or already there, so that you're not just reliant on either the goblin barrel or the troop pushing in. All right, so he's getting his slow push going. He's got a giant back there. I think he probably could have started him off a little bit further back. If he had, he would have had a stronger push coming in. I get the giant skeleton up, and I get the Valkyrie ready. And now that he's got a bunch of ground action going on, I'm going to bring in my baby dragon, and we're going to try to counter this thing as fast as possible. He arrows. I'm not really sure why. He probably could have held on to those arrows and brought in a little bit more of the air. He already had the minions up, or he could have brought in his bomber to try to take some of that out with some AoE damage. And once again, I've got a pretty decent push going up. Now he's got two baby dragons coming in. That's a challenge for anybody, but he does distract with the Valkyrie, and that's going to give him a little bit of time for his tower and his musketeer to bring down my Valkyrie. He's got a pretty decent push coming in. I was a little bit concerned, but again, he arrows early, and if you got to pay attention to what your opponent has cards-wise. If you know that he's got a bunch of cheapy cards, like my little goblins and my spear goblins, hold off on those arrows as long as you possibly can, because once you bring them in, it's going to be done. All right, so I miscalculated there. I thought that he was going to have his arrows back up. Apparently he didn't. So I didn't need to put my goblin barrel back. And doing so, he was able to put out those minions and basically prevent me from putting any damage on his tower from my goblin barrel. If I had dropped the goblin barrel directly on his tower, I could have put a little bit better damage on that tower, but since I didn't, now I actually put the goblin barrel right on the tower, and he's got his arrows ready, so I kind of screwed that one up. But at this point, it's looking like I've pretty much got that tower. I arrowed just at the right time to wipe out his spear goblins. He's got nothing to say but wow, and that's going to take me from the semifinal match into the finals, and let's go take a look at that. All right, my final match. This one up against, I don't know exactly how to say that. Ochkatzerl? Ochkat? I don't know. He was doing a great job the whole tournament up. Again, he's over 3,000. I think he's at 3,600 trophies, so he's higher up on the trophy count than I am. He's got some well-leveled cards. That level 7 giant there as an example. He's going to utilize that giant to just wreck me. When he's got a giant that can take that much damage and put out enough damage to, you can see the giant's the only thing that touched my tower. 2 hits, and I'm down to 1871 on my tower. So he knows his cards. He knew to bring in that giant, and that was going to do him the best. I really underestimated how much damage my giant skeleton was going to take there, and so I put in that goblin barrel too soon. I shouldn't have. The other benefit that he had coming into this, he was definitely spectating my last match before going into this. I didn't have the opportunity to do that for him because his match ended before mine did. And so he knew all the cards I was playing before I got into this. I was not aware of what cards he was playing at this point. For some reason, my opponents were always the last ones to get started. And so I was coming into these matches quite often not knowing what my opponent had. But this one was the one case where it really screwed me over not knowing what he had. And so here we go back to the slow push. At this point, I thought, you know what, I'm not doing well on this. He's going to bring in that giant again, and watch how long it takes me to take him down being a level 7 giant. He's able to get all the way to the tower, 2 punches, and takes it down to 2,092. Now, my Valkyrie is well placed, going to go ahead and take care of those little spear goblins early, but it's forced me into the position where now I've got to play 2 lanes. And so he's kind of done well with that. What I could have done is I probably could have taken a little more damage on that tower, not put as many troops down, and continued focusing on the left-hand side. And you'll see as we get down to the end of the match, that probably would have been a game-winning move. All right, so I had the tank in there to take care of that. Did not do much. I throw in the goblin barrel, hoping that he was going to try to bring in some small troops to focus those goblin barrels. He doesn't. Instead, he pushes again on the right, and now he's got my tower down to 1783. He is smoking me on tower damage right now. He's got 1 down to 1871, 1 down to 1787, and the only tower that I have some decent damage on is his right tower, the tower to my left, which is down to 1808. I've got a decent push coming in. He doesn't even have to put together a good push. All he's got to do is put that giant up there. and get a couple of little spear goblins behind it. Now his tower's down to 1345, and at this point he knows that, and so I get his tower down to 242, down to 142. And at this point, I'm thinking, you know what? I might actually have this thing. I'm trying to cycle back around. He has just a swarm of troops coming in on that last tower. Again, he put me in a position where I didn't know which way he was going to come. And I cannot get that giant down fast enough to take the match. I think I played well. There are a couple things, like I said, I would have changed. If I continued pushing on the left, I would have had that tower down before he got in. And having his tower down to 142 to end the match kind of stinks. But it is what it is. And that's going to do it for today, folks. I'll go ahead and bring up the whole match playlist, and you can see whoever else was in there. Maybe somebody you know, I don't know. And you can see what the turnout was. Overall, not disappointed. Second place in my first tournament. Extremely nerve-wracking. And going in with an Arena 2 or lower deck, not something I wasn't familiar with. Coming out in second, pretty happy overall. The last thing I want to put out, as soon as I get to 100 subscribers, I'm going to go through all the subscribers. I'm going to randomly select 2 of them to get 2 $10 iTunes gift cards to help you get get your deck up and going. Maybe boost your deck, or if you play some other games, Clash Clans, Boom Beach, Hungry Shark World, whatever you play, you can use that $10 iTunes gift card. Or if you want a Google Play gift card, that's fine too. I will get in touch with you and find out which one you want, and I will send that to you. So 100 subscribers, I am giving away 2 $10 gift cards to the subscribers, and I will broadcast who they are and all that. So keep it here. Like, comment, subscribe. Come on back as often as you can. This is Wahaha. Thanks for watching. Out.